Now, when a woman starts looking, stretching her neck, her brother want to take the neck off, and vice versa. She's that way too now. Right, sisters? See, God just put this thing in us. Now, what we got to learn to do is control. Man, when I was younger, I am glad my wife ain't here so I can tell this one. I mean, my wife is a fine woman, you know that. And, you know, when we were younger, I mean, she's fine now. Finer. But in that day, certain other characteristics, which I ain't talking about. But anyway, before I was a Muslim, you know, we men ain't got too much sense. We buy our women these fine clothes that accentuate the positive. And then we take our fine wife that we have paid for her clothes and duded her up. She looking fine. And you take her to a place where I was playing at the time in the nightclub. She's sitting on the bar stool, I'm singing. But I ain't blind. I got my eye on what is mine. And I see some dude oozing and easing up next to my wife. I'm singing, but I ain't digging this, you know. You talk about a man about to go crazy. And look like she was liking this attention, you know what I mean? My set was supposed to be 40 minutes, I cut it. I had to get down and see whether what I was looking at was altogether what I was seeing. And I remember my action. I really acted the fool that night. Because I was threatening to whoop her, you know what I mean? Now, she might have won that one, but I still felt I should make the threat. My wife knew I was serious, boy. But the point is, no man wants another man to be loved by his wife. Now I become a Muslim. I know that Islam is the right way. My teacher was Malcolm X. Now anybody that came along in those days, if you know Malcolm, Malcolm was a powerful black man, unmarried. So all the sisters dug Malcolm, including the married sisters, because he was the example of the man that we were trying to become. Now, brothers, here's where control and intelligence and balance comes in.
Yes, sir.
Shut up. When your wife sees a developed model of a man, what she really loves is the model. That's all it is. That model is what she hopes and knows that her husband can grow into if he stays the course. But if we get all bent out of shape, honey, I think we ought to go to the church. I ain't coming back to this place no more. What's wrong? My wife seen a model of what God has put in her heart to love before she was born into the world. This is God's woman. And she's born into this world to love God. And when you and I grow into a receptacle in which is the wisdom and the spirit of God, your wife will love you. She can't help it. But you got to keep growing into that. Not envying the teacher who will make you into that because your wife seems enamored or loves that. She's in love with the ideal that she believes is in the person. I love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and my wife loved him. And my wife loved Malcolm, and I loved Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
She couldn't beat me loving Malcolm.
All right.
And she couldn't beat me loving the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Come on.
My leader and teacher was more man than I would ever be. But as long as I loved him,
Yes, sir.
and was not envious of him, then I could grow into him. Do you understand? All praise is due to Allah. Now, that Judas saw Jesus, and this woman taking ointment, putting it on her hair, and using her hair and the ointment to anoint the feet of Jesus. Now, I don't know how things were 2,000 years ago, but just imagine a fine-looking woman with long hair, and she takes her hair and puts ointment on her hair and uses her hair to anoint the foot of Jesus. Judas is standing by and looking. Now inside he said, damn, I sure wish he would do my hair like that or my foot like that. But he don't want to say to Jesus, hey, Jesus, I like her too. So he says to Jesus, he don't even talk to Jesus, he talks to the woman. He said, look, why are you taking that expensive ointment, rubbing it on his foot? Don't you realize we could have taken that ointment, sold it, got 300 pence and given it to the poor?
Check it out.
He used the poor as though he cared more for the poor than Jesus.
Come on.
Jesus said, oh, Judas, the poor, you know, will always be with you. I'm only going to be with you a short while. Leave her alone, Judas. She's doing this against the day of my burial. Something about woman. She seems to sense and know when a man is in trouble. I learned this from my daughter, Holiday. She was 1.5 years old But even at that tender age, that child could sense when her father was troubled. And she would walk up to the bed where I was laying, thinking of some problem that was involved with the mosque. And she would come over and just pat my chest. And I looked at that girl and I said, I said, it's all in the woman. She can't help herself. She's born to console the man who works for God. She's born to console the man who gives his life. And brothers, if you want a woman to love you, you gotta stop being a nigga. And you and I gotta start understanding that when we live for the higher power, this woman is created by God to serve you when you serve the higher power, and she does not think it beneath her dignity as a woman to serve a man who is trying to serve God.